we opened in 2017, we've been very focused on developing pupil progress meetings. They're meetings held alongside myself as head teacher and the deputy head teacher and each individual teacher within the school. I think over the years we've really matured in our development and our understanding of pupil progress meetings. At the beginning we were very focused on outcomes and levels because that was the language of assessment that we were using at the time. And I think over the years, as we have progressed and developed our understanding of assessment and progression in line with Curriculum for Wales, we've had a much deeper understanding of how we build a picture and build that narrative of each individual child. So what it looks like in Jubilee Park Primary School is part of our assessment cycle throughout the whole year. It starts in the September following a period of baseline assessment for every child. In the September meeting, myself and my deputy will meet with each teacher and they will talk around the assessment profile of each individual child and build a narrative of each child. That then progresses through the year, so at the end of the autumn term a set of assessments will be conducted, and when I say assessments I don't mean tests, I mean building an understanding and building a narrative of children and what they're doing, primarily focused on language, literacy and communication and mathematical and numeracy development, but also pulling it through other aspects like progress towards the four purposes, the child's well-being, developing that understanding. We will then meet with each individual staff again in January, and then that process continues. So at the end of the spring term, those assessments will be conducted by teachers, and at the start of the summer term, we will then meet with the teachers. What that's enabled us to do as a leadership team is really build a big understanding of each individual child. So we've moved away from thinking of child as numbers, as levels, as graphs, as information that's being given to us and passed on to other people, and actually understanding and developing that understanding of all children really well. That enables us then to build intervention programmes for children that need that additional support and children that need further challenge within their learning. Then in the summer term, towards the end of the term, our progress meetings involve both the current teacher and the new teachers that those children are going to. That transition meeting is really powerful because it enables the new teachers to already start to build a picture of the class that they'll be receiving in the September, and it takes away from thinking of progress as something that only happens September to July every year. So it's building that continuity of learning and that continuum of understanding. So our learner review meetings follow a similar pattern. The reason we do that is to build an understanding for our teachers so they know what's going to happen in each progress meeting. We will always start off by talking about the current assessment period that's happened, whether that's a baseline assessment period, end of spring term assessment, and the teacher will talk through each of those assessments and what the profile of their class is looking like. We will then drill down further and say maybe individual children need some intervention and support and what that could look like for them within our school. We will then have a conversation around progress towards the four purposes and how the themes and the work that the teachers have done in terms of planning for themes have enabled children to make progress in that way. It takes away a view of accountability, and I think that's really important to share. We're building a dialogue, so teachers are not coming trying to prove what they've done, they're coming to share what they've done. It's not accountability driven, but developing that understanding. And I think it has been a challenge. It's been a challenge for myself as a head teacher in terms of taking off the thought that it's all about these numbers and levels of our children and children making 2 sub-level progress, and actually changing my thinking. And it also involves a lot of trust. It puts a lot of trust in the teachers so that they're building that understanding of each individual child within their class. And this is only possible, I believe, in our school because of the rich professional learning development that all our staff have.
At a class level, for me, when I go to my learner review meetings and talk about my children, I really focus on that child development and where my children are at and the progress they've made from on entry to school. We've carried out a number of assessments and not tests. A lot of that is based around observation in the early years, and we talk about the children, where they are in their learning, what they need next. We also look at their well-being and their emotional support that they might need, and really start to talk about where those sorts of things will inform our teaching and where we go next with the pedagogy in the classroom. We've been really involved in the learner review meetings. As a staff, we've had a considerable amount of professional learning since we opened in 2017, and the process has naturally evolved along with all of our understandings around assessment and progression in light of the new curriculum.
So when we have a PLR, a Pupil Learning Review, we have to go on the Chromebooks and we have to do certain questions that we have to answer, like what's your favourite piece of work and why, and what learning capacities do you think we're working towards more. And then once we've answered those questions, we have a little chat with our teacher and we explain why we've put those answers down. And then sometimes she'll leave a nice comment down for us to read.
In 2017, we were very much focused on looking at outcomes and levels of the children and the progress children have made in those areas. Now our understanding is much more about building a picture of assessment and progression, mainly towards the 4 purposes, but also looking at other aspects of the curriculum. I think the only way this has been possible is through effective professional learning and development that we've had. So every week we have professional learning and development sessions where we will share an understanding of progression. What do the principles of progression mean for us as a school? What do they look like? How do we ensure that we have that consistency and coherence and pace of progression across our school, particularly compared to other schools as well across the cluster? And I suppose our cluster work is also benefiting the staff understanding of progress as well.
As a teacher, the learning review meetings are really beneficial to me. I think there's been a huge shift in the last 5 years where you used to talk about outcomes and levels and numbers and put in that data on a child. It's very refreshing now for us in that we're talking about children, what they need next, what progress they've made, and you don't feel that it's a done-to process. You've got a lot more agency to talk about and celebrate the success of where the children are in their learning and the progress that they've made. As a cluster, we've worked really hard to ensure that there's that consistency, that we're developing a language of learning for our children, that we're talking about teaching and learning and the progress that children have made, and we ensure that we have those open dialogues. And I think the biggest strength of our cluster is we've provided time to talk and collaborate and discuss our processes.
It benefits children because it enables us as a school to really understand our children, not as a number, but as a child, and also about each individual children. I have 375 children within this school, and each child is known for what they can and cannot do and how we need to support them with their learning.
I think the pupils in my class really benefit from the process in the fact that myself as a teacher and my team of teaching assistants that I work with have a real clear understanding of what the children need to be taught next. It informs our planning at a medium-term level and a short-term level, and critically it involves any intervention, be that in-class intervention, more support, really helps with our differentiation to make sure that the teaching that we're providing for the children is allowing them to make progress.
It's more of we have like certain themes and topics in our class. So maybe I found something difficult in math. I'd like to reflect on it, so maybe my teacher can give me some tips and tricks to make it a bit easier for myself. I think a pupil learning review is a good part of school because it allows you to kind of reflect on yourself as a learner and to see your progression from the start of the year to the end of the year.
We have a question that said, what legacy do you think you're going to be leaving behind? Mine would probably be being a true comrade. I'm really proud of that, yeah.